Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Where the stadium stops, the sky starts. Big numbers in lights showed the score. Home 42, visitors 14. People cheered around the stadium. The final whistle sounded before the players started to take off their gear. Many helmets came off, making a metal sound. Sweaty men took off their pads and gave each other pats and slaps on the back. A big player left the group. This was Derek, the Wildcats' left tackle, number 77. He walked slowly to the sideline. His eyes kept moving. Sweat dripped from his strong red-blonde body. "Great game, man," a teammate called, but Derek kept looking around. The football players, tired from playing for 3 hours, were now just part of the background. "Can you believe this?" Derek said, spitting on the ground. "We work so hard, but they come out for 5 minutes and get all the praise." "Relax, man," the center said with a shrug. "That's just the way it is." "No, it's not just how it is." Derek's grip tightened on his helmet. "Johnson's got a separated shoulder. Martinez can barely walk on that ankle. I've been playing through a stinger in my neck for 3 weeks. And for what? So those girls can shake their asses and get all the credit?" The head coach's voice boomed over the PA system. "Let's hear it for our amazing cheerleaders. These young ladies have been at every game, rain or shine, keeping our spirits up." Derek's face turned red beneath the stadium lights. His knuckles went white as he gripped his helmet harder. "And now let's get the whole team together for a victory photo. Football players and cheerleaders gather round." "You've got to be kidding me." Derek turned and started walking toward the locker room. "Baylor, get back here for the photo," Coach Williams shouted. "Take it without me." Derek kept walking, his cleats clicking against the concrete as he left the field. The parking lot behind the stadium was dimly lit, with most of the overhead lights focused on the field. Derek stomped toward the locker room entrance, muttering under his breath about the injustice of it all. His crimson jersey was soaked through with sweat, clinging to his broad frame. That was quite the display back there. Derek spun around. 4 girls stood in the shadows near the equipment shed. They wore regular clothes, jeans, and various colored tops, not cheerleader uniforms. The one who had spoken stepped forward into the light. She had long black hair and wore a purple sweater. "What's it to you?" Derek's eyes narrowed. "Just observing." Another girl emerged, this one in a green jacket. "All that anger over a little recognition for others. Interesting." "Mind your own business." Derek turned to leave. "We are." A third girl, wearing a blue cardigan, moved to block his path. "Human behavior is very much our business." "Get out of my way." Derek's voice dropped to a growl. The fourth girl, in a yellow tank top, despite the cool evening air, tilted her head. "Such rage. Such entitlement. You truly believe you deserve all the glory, don't you?" "I earned it." Derek's voice echoed off the concrete walls. "Every yard gained, every quarterback sack prevented, that was me and my teammates, not those attention-seeking cheerleaders. They practice just as hard as you do." Purple sweater crossed her arms. "They risk injury too. Stunts, tumbling, maintaining perfect form while you slam into each other like barbarians." "That's not the same thing." Derek's face contorted with fury. "Football is what matters. We're the ones people come to see." "Are you?" Green Jacket smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Because from where we were sitting, the crowd seemed pretty excited about both. "You don't know anything." Derek raised his helmet above his head. "You're just like them, thinking you're so important when you contribute nothing." "Careful with that temper," Blue Cardigan warned. "It might get you in trouble." "Shut up!" Derek hurled his helmet with all his strength. Time seemed to slow. The black helmet spiraled through the air, its face mask glinting in the parking lot lights. Yellow Tank Top tried to dodge, but she wasn't fast enough. The helmet struck her shoulder with a sickening crack, sending her stumbling backward into the equipment shed wall. "Ow!" She grabbed her shoulder, tears springing to her eyes. "Oh, shit." The color drained from Derek's face. "I didn't mean to." "Yes, you did." Purple Sweater's voice had gone cold. "You meant to hurt someone. You just didn't care who." The 4 girls moved closer together, forming a semicircle around Yellow Tank Top, She straightened up, still rubbing her shoulder, and nodded to the others. This one needs a lesson. Green Jacket's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. What are you talking about? Derek took a step back. Look, I'm sorry about your friend, but... No, you're not. Blue Cardigan shook her head. But you will be. The girls joined hands, and the air around them began to shimmer. The parking lot lights flickered, casting dancing shadows across the concrete. A wind picked up from nowhere, swirling around Derek. What the hell? Derek tried to run, but his feet wouldn't move. It felt like the ground had turned to quicksand. The girls began to speak in unison, their voices harmonizing in a language Derek didn't recognize. The words seemed to bypass his ears and resonate directly in his bones. His skin started to tingle, then burn. Stop it! Derek's voice cracked. Whatever you're doing, stop! The burning sensation intensified. Derek looked down at his hands and gasped. They were shrinking, becoming slender and delicate. His calluses faded away, replaced by smooth skin. No, no, no! Derek's voice rose in pitch with each word. His shoulders narrowed as his frame compressed. The crimson jersey that had been stretched tight across his chest now hung loose. But not for long. His chest began to swell, pushing out against the fabric in two distinct mounds. This isn't possible! Derek's now higher voice trembled. His hips widened, straining against his football pants. The muscle mass in his legs redistributed, becoming leaner and more curved. His waist cinched inward, creating an hourglass silhouette, even through the bulky uniform. Derek reached up to his face, feeling the bones shift beneath his skin. His jaw softened, cheekbones rising. His nose became smaller and more refined. His brown hair, which had been cut short for the season, began to grow at an impossible rate. It cascaded past his shoulders, reaching the middle of his back in silky waves. Please, Derek's fully feminine voice pleaded, change me back! The girls released their hands, and the wind died instantly. Where Derek Baylor had stood, a young woman now remained. She was maybe 5'6", with an athletic but distinctly feminine build. The football uniform hung off her smaller frame comically. There, purple sweater dusted off her hands. Much better. What did you do to me? The woman who had been Derek looked down at herself in horror. We gave you a new perspective. Green Jacket smiled. You're Christine now, Christine Baylor. No, I'm Derek, Christine's hands flew to her throat as her voice refused to deepen. Derek is gone, Blue Cardigan stated matter-of-factly. He was too dangerous, too full of rage and entitlement. Christine, however, has potential. This is insane! Christine stumbled in the cleats that were now several sizes too big. You can't just change someone's entire body, can't we? Yellow Tank Top, still rubbing her bruised shoulder, stepped forward. You threw that helmet without thinking about consequences. Now you get to live with some. The sound of voices approached from the stadium. The team was heading to the locker room. Better hurry. Purple Sweater pointed to the women's locker room entrance. Unless you want to explain to your former teammates why you're wearing their left tackle's uniform. I can't go in there. Christine's eyes were wide with panic. Where else are you going to go? Green Jacket raised an eyebrow. The men's locker room? I don't think that would end well for you now. Christine heard the voices getting closer. In her panic, she ran for the women's locker room, her oversized cleats clapping against the concrete. She burst through the door just as the first group of players rounded the corner. Inside, several cheerleaders were already changing. They looked up in surprise at the disheveled girl in the massive football uniform. Oh my God, are you okay? A blonde cheerleader in a crimson sports bra rushed over. What happened to you? Christine's mind raced. What could she possibly say? Did someone hurt you? A brunette cheerleader joined them, concern etched on her face. Why are you wearing a football uniform? I found it. The lie came out automatically. I was trying it on as a joke, but then some guys started chasing me and... Those assholes. The blonde's face flushed with anger. Which ones? We'll report them to Coach Williams right now. No, Christine held up her hands. I mean, I didn't get a good look at them. It was dark. Here. The brunette opened her locker. You can borrow some of my clothes. That uniform must be so uncomfortable. Christine stared at the offered outfit, a pair of pink leggings and a white crop top with the school logo. Her male mind recoiled at the thought, but what choice did she have? The showers are through there if you want to clean up first. The blonde pointed to a doorway. We'll wait for you. Christine shuffled to the showers, struggling to process what had happened. She peeled off the football uniform, trying not to look at her transformed body. The hot water did nothing to wash away the reality of her situation. When she emerged, wrapped in a towel, the brunette cheerleader handed her the clothes, along with some undergarments. These should fit. I'm Madison, by the way. Christine. The name felt foreign on her tongue. Nice to meet you, Christine. Madison smiled warmly, though I wish it were under better circumstances. Christine dressed quickly, hyper-aware of every difference in her new body. The pink leggings clung to legs that were far shapelier than they had any right to be. The crop top left her midriff exposed, and she crossed her arms self-consciously. You look cute. The blonde, who had introduced herself as Ashley, beamed. Do you go to school here? I don't think I've seen you around. I just transferred. Another lie. Christine's mind struggled to keep up with the deception. Well, you should totally try out for the squad next season. Madison's eyes lit up. You've got the build for it. Christine wanted to scream. Less than an hour ago, she had been ranting about how cheerleaders stole the spotlight. Now she was being recruited to join them. A knock on the locker room door interrupted her spiral. Ladies, this is Coach Williams. Is everyone decent? Come in, Coach, Ashley called out. The door opened, and the head football coach entered, followed by the quarterback. Christine's heart stopped. She knew that face, had blocked for him all season. Ladies, I need to ask if any of you have seen Derek Baylor. Coach Williams looked troubled. His gear is here, but he never showed up for the team photo. His parents are worried. The left tackle? Madison shook her head. Haven't seen him since the game ended. Jake here says he saw Derek heading this way. The coach gestured to the quarterback, who was still in his grass-stained white and crimson uniform. Jake's eyes swept the room and landed on Christine. His brow furrowed slightly, as if trying to place her. Christine held her breath, terrified he would somehow recognize her. Sorry, Coach. Ashley shrugged. Just us girls here? All right, Coach Williams sighed. If you see him, tell him to call his parents immediately. As they turned to leave, Jake glanced back at Christine one more time. Their eyes met for a brief moment before he followed the coach out. That was weird. Madison started changing into street clothes. Why would Derek come this way? Who knows? Ashley pulled on a Stanford University sweatshirt. Football players are weird. No offense, Christine, but I saw you checking out Jake. He's single, you know. I wasn't checking him out. Christine's face burned. Sure you weren't. Madison winked. Come on, we'll walk you to your car. Campus isn't super safe at night. I don't have a car. Christine realized the keys in Derek's uniform pocket would be useless now. The car was registered to someone who technically no longer existed. No problem. Ashley linked arms with her. We'll give you a ride. Where do you live? Christine's mind went blank. Where did she live? Derek's apartment? His roommates would never believe she was him. She had no ID, no money, no way to prove who she used to be. I'm staying with friends, she mumbled. Off campus. Cool, just give us the address. Madison linked Christine's other arm, and they headed for the door. Outside, the parking lot had mostly emptied. Only a few cars remained, including a black SUV idling near the exit. As they walked past, the window rolled down. Jake leaned out, still in his football uniform. Hey. His eyes focused on Christine. You okay? You look lost. She's fine, Ashley answered protectively. We're giving her a ride home. Actually. Jake opened his door and stepped out. Can I talk to you for a second? Privately? He was looking directly at Christine. Her stomach dropped. It's okay. Christine gently pulled free from the cheerleaders. I'll just be a minute. She followed Jake a few feet away, her heart pounding. He studied her face intently. This is going to sound crazy. Jake ran a hand through his short blonde hair. But there's something familiar about you. Have we met before? I don't think so. Christine's voice was barely above a whisper. You sure? Because... Jake frowned. Never mind, it's impossible. What's impossible? You remind me of someone. Jake shook his head. A teammate. But that's ridiculous because you're definitely not him. Christine felt tears building behind her eyes. Even if she told him the truth, he'd never believe it. Who would? I should go. She turned away. My friends are waiting. Wait. Jake caught her arm gently. I know this is forward, but would you maybe want to grab coffee sometime? I feel like we have something to talk about, even if I can't put my finger on what. Christine looked back at him. In his eyes, she saw genuine concern and something else, a flicker of recognition he couldn't quite place. I don't think that's a good idea. She pulled away. I'm sorry. She hurried back to Madison and Ashley, who were watching with obvious interest. Oh my God, did Jake Morrison just ask you out? Ashley squealed. He never asks anyone out. Can we just go? Christine's voice cracked. Please? Of course. Madison's expression softened. Come on. They piled into Madison's red Honda Civic. Christine gave them an address she remembered from delivering pizza in college, a random apartment complex across town. As they drove, she stared out the window at the familiar streets that suddenly felt foreign. You sure you're okay? Madison glanced at her in the rearview mirror. You seem really shaken up. It's been a weird night, Christine managed. I'll say. Ashley turned around from the passenger seat. First those guys chase you, then Jake Morrison shows interest? That's like a whole season of drama in one evening. They pulled up to the apartment complex. Christine thanked them and climbed out, waiting until the Honda disappeared around the corner before starting the long walk to... where? She had nowhere to go. Rough night? Christine spun around. The four girls from the parking lot stood behind her, no longer in their colorful tops, but now wearing matching black robes. You! Christine's hands clenched into fists. Change me back, right now. We can't do that. Purple Robe, the one who had worn the purple sweater, shook her head. The spell is permanent. Spell? Christine laughed bitterly. This is the 21st century. There's no such thing as magic. And yet, Green Robe gestured at Christine's transformed body. Here you are. Why? Tears finally spilled down Christine's cheeks. Why did you do this to me? Because you were on a dark path. Blue Robe stepped forward. Your anger, your entitlement, your willingness to hurt others. It would have only gotten worse. You don't know that, Christine protested. Don't we? Yellow Robe, still favoring her bruised shoulder, met Christine's eyes. You threw that helmet without thinking. What happens next time? When you're drunk at a bar and some woman rejects you? When you're passed over for a promotion at work? How many people would you hurt before someone finally stopped you? I would never... You already did, Purple Robe interrupted. Tonight was just the beginning. We've seen your future, Derek Baylor. We've seen the pain you would cause, the lives you would ruin. So you ruined mine instead? Christine's voice broke. We gave you a second chance. Green Robe's expression was almost sympathetic. A chance to walk a different path, to learn empathy, to understand what it's like to be vulnerable, to be dismissed, to be seen as less than. This is insane. Christine sank to her knees on the sidewalk. You can't just change someone's entire life because of what they might do. We didn't change your life. Blue Robe knelt beside her. We changed your body. Your life is what you make of it now. How? Christine looked up at them desperately. I have no identity, no home, no money. I don't exist. Christine Baylor exists. Yellow Robe pulled out a small purse. Driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, all legitimate, all legal. As far as the world is concerned, you've always been Christine. Christine took the purse with shaking hands. Inside was everything Yellow Robe had promised, along with a few $100s in cash and a key. The key is to a studio apartment on Maple Street, Purple Robe explained. Paid up for 3 months, your job at the campus bookstore starts Monday. You planned all this? Christine stared at them in disbelief. We planned for many possibilities. Green Robe helped her to her feet. This wasn't our first choice, but your actions tonight made it necessary. What about my family? My friends? Christine's voice was hollow. Derek Baylor left town after the game. Blue Robe's tone was matter-of-fact. Couldn't handle the pressure anymore. His family will be sad, but they'll move on. They always do. You're monsters! Christine clutched the purse to her chest. Perhaps. Purple Robe turned to leave. But we're monsters who prevented a greater tragedy. Someday you might even thank us. Never, Christine spat. Never is a long time. Yellow Robe smiled sadly, especially for someone with a whole new life ahead of them. The four figures walked away, their black robes blending into the shadows between streetlights. Christine stood alone on the sidewalk, brown hair whipping in the cool night breeze. The apartment on Maple Street was small but clean. Christine sat on the unfamiliar bed, still wearing Madison's pink leggings and white crop top. On the nightstand was a phone, her phone apparently. It already had contacts, photos, a whole fabricated history. She scrolled through the pictures. Christine at high school graduation, Christine with parents she'd never met, Christine at college orientation. All fake, but all perfectly real to anyone who looked. A text notification popped up. It was from Madison. Hey girl, just wanted to make sure you got home safe. Ashley and I were thinking of grabbing brunch tomorrow if you want to join. No pressure. Christine stared at the message. These cheerleaders, the very people Derek had resented hours ago, were showing her more kindness than he had shown anyone in years. Another text, this time from an unknown number. Hey, this is Jake Morrison. Got your number from Madison. Sorry if that's creepy. I can't shake the feeling we've met before. Would you maybe want to talk? Just talk, I promise. Christine's thumb hovered over the keyboard. What could she possibly say? That she used to be his left tackle? That she knew exactly how he liked his protection called? That she'd saved him from countless sacks? She set the phone aside and walked to the bathroom. The mirror showed a stranger's face, pretty in a girl-next-door way, with those same brown eyes that had glared at cheerleaders with such disdain. Her long brown hair fell in waves past her shoulders, exactly the color Derek's had been, but impossibly longer and silkier. Who are you? She asked her reflection. The reflection, of course, had no answer. The next morning came too soon. Christine had barely slept, her mind racing with the impossibility of her situation. She dressed in jeans and a simple blue t-shirt from the wardrobe that had somehow been provided, each movement still foreign and strange. Her phone buzzed. Madison again. Brunch at 11? The place on University Ave? Christine hesitated, then typed back, Sure. What else was she going to do? Hide in this apartment forever? The restaurant was bustling with the weekend crowd. Madison and Ashley had claimed a corner booth, both wearing Wildcats gear. They waved enthusiastically when Christine entered. You came! Ashley scooted over to make room. We weren't sure you would. Thanks for inviting me. Christine slid into the booth, hyper-aware of how different everything felt. The way she sat, the way the clothes fit, even the way others looked at her. So? Madison leaned forward conspiratorially. Jake texted me asking about you. He's really interested. I'm not looking for anything like that. Christine stared at her menu. Bad breakup? Ashley's voice was sympathetic. Something like that. It wasn't entirely a lie. They ordered food. Christine found herself choosing a salad when Derek would have ordered a massive burger. And the conversation flowed surprisingly easily. Madison and Ashley were funny, smart, and genuinely kind. Everything Derek had refused to see past their pom-poms. So what made you transfer here? Madison asked between bites of her omelet. Christine had practiced this lie. My family moved for work. Figured it was better to start fresh somewhere new. That's brave. Ashley smiled. Starting over is never easy. If only she knew. Speaking of starting over, Madison's eyes lit up. Cheerleading tryouts are in the spring, but we do workshops throughout the year. You should totally come. I don't think I'm cheerleader material. Christine pushed lettuce around her plate. Are you kidding? Ashley gestured at her. You've got the perfect build. Plus, it's really fun once you get past all the stereotypes. Stereotypes? Christine's voice was carefully neutral. You know, Madison rolled her eyes, that we're all airheads who just shake pom-poms, that we're stealing glory from the football players, that we don't work as hard as they do. Christine felt her face burn. Those had been Derek's exact thoughts. People don't realize we practice just as many hours as the football team. Ashley continued. Plus, we have to maintain our grades, work out constantly, and deal with jerks who think we're just decoration. Like that guy last night. Madison's expression darkened. Derek whatever, the one who disappeared. You knew him? Christine's heart raced. Knew of him? Ashley corrected. Left tackle. Good player, but kind of an ass. Always glaring at us like we personally offended him by existing. I heard he threw a tantrum after the game because coach included us in the team photo. Madison shook her head. Can you imagine being that insecure? Christine wanted to defend herself. Himself. But what could she say? They were right. Derek had been an ass. Maybe he had his reasons, she offered weakly. Everyone has reasons. Ashley's tone was firm, but not unkind. Doesn't make it okay to treat people badly. After brunch, they walked around downtown. The familiar streets felt different from Christine's new height, new perspective. Men's gazes lingered in ways that made her uncomfortable. A group of guys whistled as they passed, and Christine felt a surge of anger mixed with something else. Fear? Vulnerability? Ignore them. Madison linked arms with her. Some guys are just pigs. The irony wasn't lost on Christine. How many times had Derek been part of similar groups, making women uncomfortable without a second thought? They passed the football stadium, and Christine's steps faltered. Through the chain-link fence, she could see the team practicing. Her replacement at left tackle was struggling with the blocking scheme she'd perfected over 3 years. You okay? Ashley noticed her staring. Yeah, just thinking. Christine forced herself to look away. About Jake? Madison grinned. He's out there, you know, quarterback drills. It's not about Jake. Christine started walking again, but it was partially. Jake had been one of the few teammates Derek actually respected. Smart, talented, and surprisingly kind. He'd always thanked his offensive line after good plays, something most quarterbacks forgot to do. Christine's phone buzzed. Another text from Jake. I know this is weird, but I can't stop thinking about you. Not in a creepy way, just, there's something about you. Would you please just meet me for coffee? One conversation, and if you want me to leave you alone after that, I will. What's got you smiling? Ashley peered at her phone. Nothing. Christine quickly pocketed it. Just a text. From Jake? Madison's eyebrows rose. Girl, you need to give him a chance. He's one of the good ones. How do you know? Christine challenged. My little brother is on the team, Madison explained. Backup safety? Jake's always looking out for the younger guys, making sure they're included. Plus, he stands up to the jerks on the team when they get out of line. Like Derek? The name felt strange to say out loud. Exactly like Derek. Ashley nodded. Jake called him out once for making gross comments about us. Derek backed down, but you could tell he wasn't happy about it. Christine remembered that day differently. Derek had felt betrayed, like Jake had chosen the cheerleaders over his own teammate. Another grievance to add to the pile. They parted ways at the campus entrance, Madison and Ashley heading to their dorm, while Christine walked to her apartment. The afternoon sun cast long shadows, and she found herself thinking about paths, the dark one Derek had been on, and whatever this new one was supposed to be. Her phone rang. Jake's name flashed on the screen. Against her better judgment, she answered. Christine? Jake's voice was uncertain. Thanks for picking up. I know I'm being pushy, but I really need to talk to you. About what? She sat on a bench near the library. This is going to sound completely insane. Jake took a deep breath. But I think you might know something about what happened to my teammate, Derek Baylor. Christine's blood ran cold. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you do. Jake's voice was gentle but insistent. The timing is too coincidental. He disappears and you show up wearing his uniform. Madison said you were running from some guys, but the security cameras don't show anyone chasing you. You checked the security cameras? Christine's voice rose. I was worried about Derek. Jake defended. He's not my favorite person, but he's still my teammate. And then I see you, and there's something familiar. Your eyes, the way you stand, even how you reacted when I mentioned blocking schemes at practice today. You were watching me? Christine stood up, ready to run. I noticed you watching us through the fence. Jake's voice softened. Christine, I know this sounds crazy, but I've seen things. Impossible things. My grandmother, she used to tell stories about old magic, about consequences and transformations. I never believed her until... Until what? Christine whispered. Until I looked into your eyes last night and saw my left tackle looking back at me. The phone shook in Christine's trembling hand. That's impossible. Is it? Jake pressed. Then explain why you knew exactly which blocking scheme we were running. Explain why you flinched when Madison mentioned Derek's name. Explain why you're crying right now. Christine touched her face. She was crying, tears streaming down cheeks that weren't supposed to be hers. 1 coffee. Jake's voice was barely audible. That's all I'm asking. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize and never bother you again. But if I'm right, maybe I can help. Fine. The word escaped before Christine could stop it. 1 coffee. Thank you. Relief flooded Jake's voice. Campus coffee shop? 20 minutes? Christine agreed and hung up. She sat back down on the bench, mind racing. How could Jake possibly know? And even if he believed the impossible, what could he do about it? 20 minutes later, she walked into the coffee shop. Jake was already there, sitting in a corner booth away from the other patrons. He'd changed out of his practice gear into jeans and a gray Henley that matched his eyes. Thanks for coming. He stood as she approached, ever the gentleman. Christine slid into the opposite seat, arms crossed defensively. Talk. Straight to the point. Jake smiled sadly. Just like Derek. Don't. Christine's jaw clenched. Whatever you think you know, I know that Derek Baylor was an angry, bitter man who let his resentment consume him. Jake interrupted. I know he threw something at someone after the game, and I know that sometimes when you hurt the wrong people, there are consequences. You're talking about magic. Christine's voice was flat. Magic isn't real. My grandmother was from the old country. Jake leaned forward. She told me stories about women who could change fates with a whispered word, who could reshape reality when the need was great. I thought they were just stories until I was 15. What happened when you were 15? My older brother was a lot like Derek. Jake's eyes grew distant, angry at the world, taking it out on everyone around him. One night he went too far, hurt someone he shouldn't have. The next morning he was gone. Just gone. Like he'd never existed. Except I remembered. Christine's heart pounded. That's not possible. I found her diary later. Jake continued. My brother kept a journal, can you believe it? Except after that night, the name on the cover had changed. Sarah Morrison. My sister, apparently. Same handwriting. Different person. What happened to her? To Sarah? Christine's voice was barely a whisper. She lived a different life. Better in some ways, harder in others. She learned things Brent never could have. Empathy, humility, what it meant to be vulnerable. Jake met her eyes. She's a social worker now, helps at-risk kids, says it's her way of balancing the scales. And you just accepted it? Christine couldn't hide her disbelief. What choice did I have? Jake shrugged. I could either drive myself crazy, fighting something I couldn't change, or I could accept that my brother needed to become someone else to find redemption. Redemption? Christine laughed bitterly. Is that what this is? I understand your frustration, Jake continued, his gaze unwavering. But sometimes the universe has a way of stepping in, of putting a stop to our self-destructive paths and offering us a second chance. Consider it a moment of grace. Christine's eyes softened, the anger melting away. A second chance? For what? Jake smiled, and this time his hand gently covered hers. For you, Christine. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.